guys, I look like an actual pink trash bag today, but if not now, when? When am I gonna sit down and film? I wanted to sit down and film a pregnancy Q&A, so I asked on my Instagram for some pregnancy related questions and you guys came through, and I'm gonna try not to talk too much so I can get through all of these questions. So let me pull them up now. Ooh, there we go. Here, I'll start here, sure. It's a good place to start. How's everyone doing? I'm like a little bit hot, I'm a little bit sweaty, but I find that with pregnancy, like 1 second I'm so cold and 1 second I'm so hot. So I kind of just live in that in between. Let's jump in. First question is, what should I expect for my first OB appointment? And you should expect to feel nervous, a little anxious, but really excited. For your first OB, listen, I can only talk from my experience, and this is gonna go for all of these questions. This is all just my experience, all just, you know, with some questions, just my opinion. But from my experience from the past 2 times that I've gone in for my first OB appointment, you meet with your doctor, you let them know when the first day of your last period was, they kind of talk you through the next steps or how they're gonna confirm that you're pregnant. And then you'll go get your ultrasound done. Your ultrasound will confirm a positive pregnancy. And then for me, at least, I went back to my doctor's office after that and we talked about the game plan for the next few appointments, as well as talking about what the blood work I was gonna get done and my due date. And so it's a lot of information, especially if it's your first baby. It can feel very overwhelming, and something that my husband and I did that I highly recommend is recording your session. So you can ask your doctor, is it okay if I record our meeting on my phone? And that's a really nice way of being able to go back and re-listen if you feel like you forgot something or missed something, or you can bring a notebook and jot down what your doctor is saying, because especially when it's your very first time, you're gonna feel so excited but also probably nervous, and it might be hard to like take in all the information. So I would say most of all, just go in feeling like putting your heart into feeling really excited, and it's a fun time. Next question is, are you going to find out the gender? And if you are, will you reveal it to us? A lot of questions about the baby's gender, and yes, we are going to find out. We are gonna find out at the anatomy scan. I know that there are a lot of ways that you can find out sooner. There are places that do ultrasound sooner. There are tests, like blood tests, you can get to know sooner. But to be honest, I'm in both camps. Like, I'm in the I want to wait camp, and I'm in the I want to find out camp. I'm in the I want to wait camp, and that I want to wait until a 20-week, and that seems like a good middle point of enough time of us not knowing and feeling excited and kind of thinking of the possibilities. Is like, Hugo gonna have a sister or a brother? Am I filming? Yeah, almost like got nervous thinking that I wasn't recording. Also then having plenty of time to prepare once we know what we're having. So we are gonna find out the gender, and we'll find that out at the anatomy scan. And if you are, will you reveal it to us? Of course, that's so fun. I definitely want you guys to know what we're having, and I will make a gender reveal video. I really wanna do like, and I don't know with the quarantine what's going to be possible and what life will look like in July, which is around my 20-week mark. But I'm hoping that I can have like a little gender reveal, even just with family, like a little gender reveal party. I'd love to like pop a balloon and have confetti. I didn't do that with Hugo. I just found out at the scan. But this time I would love to be surprised. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm trying to keep open thoughts about that whole gender reveal party. What do you do for morning sickness? Ugh. What do? I like grin and bear it. It's pretty awful. So I am 9 weeks 5 days today, and my sickness for like week 7 and 8, I talked about this in my pregnancy update, was pretty much all day. And now it's moved to being just in the evenings, just at night. And I'll breathe through it. Seltzer really helps. Drinking seltzer for me, a carbonated beverage, has helped so much. I tried like in the very beginning, like weeks 5 and 6, I found that like the ginger candies helped, crackers helped. Even just talking about some of this stuff makes me want to gag a little bit. Drinking some lemonade helped. But then once I moved into week 7 and 8, those things stopped working. which is like a really fun part of pregnancy, is like things that were working one day stop working another day. The C-bands helped for a day, but I found that the pressure of that little plastic ball really hurt and left my wrist really sore. And so I stopped wearing those. And so yeah, that's been what's really, I like breathing, deep breathing, and it's definitely been more harsh at night. And so I find that in those cases, I usually just go to sleep. I try to fall asleep as quickly as possible. I was going back and forth with calling my doctor about getting on medication for it. Because it's subsided a bit now, I'm thinking that I'll skip that, but definitely ask your OB about medication if you feel like it's really severe. Next question, do you have names picked out yet, or have you at least narrowed them down? And we have. So for boys' names, we're down to about 3 or 4 that we really like. And for girls' names, we're down to about 2 that are like the front runners. So I think we'll probably end up doing what we did with Hugo, which is finding out the gender and then being able to like take one whole list and put it on the back burner, focusing just on boy names or just on girl names. And then once the baby's actually here, seeing the baby's face and then making that final decision together. But for girl names, yeah, we're definitely down to 2 that we absolutely love. And I just feel like in my heart of hearts, it's one of those 2 names. And for boys' names, it's been a little trickier. I'm still so open to suggestions, and I will make some baby name videos as we get further down into this, but yeah, for boy names, I don't know. Like, we have some names that we really like, and I wouldn't be surprised if of those 4 names that we love the most, if it's a boy, it's one of those 4 names. But I'm always open to other names, and I've like recently got on the like watching all the baby name videos train, because you just don't want to feel like you're missing anything or missing out. So that's if you have any suggestions, like names that are like Hugo, do you know, like that are a little unusual, but not completely out there. Those are the names that we gravitate toward. We really love British names. We really love names of Italian and Spanish origin. I don't know, we're pretty open when, like, to be honest. And we also like love really traditional names. Like some of our names are kind of traditional. So anyway, that's that on the baby names. Next question, do you want it to be a boy or a girl? And I got another question that was really funny, and it was this: are you secretly leaning toward a gender preference? So I'll loop these 2 questions in together, and the answer is no. With Hugo, I felt like I was leaning more toward, oh, I want this to be a little girl, because I'm a girl, I'm such a girl, love girly things, I'm a daughter, my mom was a daughter. Like, in my head, I was like, I see myself with a daughter, which is why I'm sort of leaning toward thinking that this is a girl, because I'm like, I just see myself with a daughter. And that's not based in any sort of like scientific fact. So with Hugo, I was like, I wanted to be a girl because that's all I know. I just know girly things, and I know little girls, and my friends had all had girls. So when I found out it was a boy, I was a little like shocked. What do I do with a little boy? How do I dress a little boy? Like, how do I interact? But after you have your son, you fall so in love with them, and Hugo is just an actual angel, and I love him so much, and I can't imagine it any other way, do you know? So for me, I'm like, okay, well I'm in the optimal situation right now, because either we have a girl and great, oh my gosh, how fun. We don't have a girl, and like I can buy all the cute like frilly clothes and the pink bows, and like we can have that experience. Or we have another boy, and like how fun is that? And Hugo can have a brother, and they can grow up together and be best friends, and like that's so special. So honestly, I really don't care. I just want the baby to be healthy. And I know that's the most annoying answer. Probably not what you want to hear, but it's the truth. How did people react to announcing, how did people react to you announcing as soon as you found out? I don't know when to tell. So that's a really great question. I think because we're living in unusual times right now, that it wasn't as much of a shock. I'm also an oversharer. Hi, welcome to my channel of oversharing. So I don't think people were very surprised. I also think most of our family and friends knew this was coming. We had talked about wanting to, you know, expand our family. So I think, you know, if anyone was shocked that we shared it so early, it was like our close nuclear family, like our parents, who were like, oh, are you sure you want to share it so early? You know, like I hadn't even had my doctor's appointment yet. But in my heart of hearts, it was when it was when the pandemic like really started hitting the US. And I just felt like I need to share this because this is a huge part of my life now, like huge. And we are now like living through unprecedented modern day times. And how do I navigate this new reality while also being pregnant and not express that and not share that? Like, that's the whole point of my channel, is to be able to share my life with you guys and just kind of talk out my thoughts. It's like very therapeutic for me. And so yeah, there was no way I couldn't, I don't know, there was no way that I couldn't share. And everyone else was like, that's awesome, that's so great. Also, like, YouTubers share everything like immediately. Too much sometimes. Okay, next question. Ew. Has your doctor mentioned anything about COVID-19 precautions around your birth? No, because it's still really early. So my due date is November 18th. I think once we start getting closer to November, if we're still living in this new world, this unprecedented, if we're still quarantined, then yeah, we'll be talking about a lot of precautions regarding the birth. There were a lot of precautions just regarding our appointments and appointments in the future. We did talk about that and how we just won't have as many appointments, and we'll try to like condense so that we're doing, you know, more testing, or like we're just trying to fill in as much as possible and as little visits as possible, obviously staying within safe boundaries. But in regards to the actual birth, no, that like we haven't talked about that yet because we don't know. Like, even my doctor, which I really appreciated, she was just really transparent. She was like, we don't know what it's gonna look like in November. We don't know what the world's gonna look like. We just don't know. Next question, do you have a birth plan in place? Yes, ma'am, I do. I do. I actually have a very strict, non-negotiable birth plan in place, which is probably the opposite of every woman out there and what everyone's gonna tell you. Don't have a non-negotiable birth plan, but I have one. And it is a scheduled C-section on November 18th. So that's what it is right now. The due date may change. That I'm open to, that's fine. But in regards to like if I'm having a C-section or vaginal birth, there's no question about that. The whole pregnancy was contingent on the fact that I was having a C-section. And if you're brand new to my channel and you are like, what? Why? I will make a whole separate video, but I had a pretty traumatic vaginal delivery with my first, with Hugo. And so that was the first thing I said to my doctor right after. I think it was like the next day I saw her and I said, I'm never doing this again. She said, don't worry, we don't ever have to do this again. And every single time I've seen her up until I got pregnant this time, she was like, are we still on the same page? C-section? I said, yes, ma'am, that is what we're doing. No ifs, ands, or buts. So that's the birth plan. In terms of like the other things, like my husband and I haven't really talked yet about, you know, like people think birth plan is either stay at home, have a home birth, have a C-section, or plan for a natural birth. There's a lot of other things to consider too, like, are you gonna vaccinate your child? Which, like, yes, we are. Or are you gonna like give them special, like allow the doctors to give them the vitamins, or there's like certain things. What are you gonna do with the placenta? Like things like that. We just haven't talked about that yet, again, because it's so far out. Honestly, I think we're gonna be a little more chill this go around. I don't think, there are definitely gonna be some things that I'm like, it's cool, take a minute. Chest to chest, like on my birth plan, the last time I said like I wanted Hugo to do chest to chest right away, which I think is great. This go around, I'm having a C-section, so like, I don't know. Also, like, you can clean up the baby and then I'll have the baby after. I don't know. I know that's like controversial and like chest to chest right away, the second the baby comes out, is like what you have to do. But like, also, who knows? Who knows? I'm easy. I'm easy. Me and that baby are gonna have a lot of chest to chest time. A lot of skin, I keep saying chest to chest. Skin to skin. Me and that baby are gonna have a lot of skin to skin time. So like, does it have to happen immediately? I don't know. Next question. How many months were you TTC before you got pregnant? We got pregnant on the first try. So that was February, first try. What workouts are you doing? Have links. I will link down some of the workouts. I will link down below some of the workouts that I was doing. I'm not working a lot right now, but that's because I'm in a funk. And yeah, but the workouts that I linked below are great first trimester workouts, and I was doing them often. Will you be doing the gender reveal? Yes. How did you know you were ready to have kids? It was like something switched inside of me. Like there was a light switch inside of me that was like have kids, not have kids, and then it got switched and I wanted to have kids. I always knew I wanted to be a mom since I was young, but it wasn't until, well, I remember feeling like I wanted to start having kids when I was like 26. Yeah, it was like the year that we got married. I was 26. I guess I turned 27, and that's when I like, but Jeff and I were living in Manhattan and our careers were kind of all over the place. Like life was just crazy. And so that, like I sort of subdued that. And then a few years later, once we moved back to New York after having lived in Florida, because like doesn't everyone do that? I was around 28, I think. And again, that like switch came on and I was like, must have babies. So that's how it's been for me. It hasn't really been a very like cerebral process. It's always just been very intuitive. Must have pregnancy items. Just found out I'm pregnant too and so excited. Congratulations. I don't want to say who it is, just in case they want to keep that private. Any must have pregnancy items. I'm trying to think. I would say a really good pair of, I really like the over the belly pregnancy maternity leggings. I got mine from Target. They were like 20 bucks, inexpensive. I still wear them now. Like I wore them while I wasn't pregnant. Now I'm pregnant, obviously, but they're so comfortable. I'll try to link them down below if I can find them. Finding inexpensive pregnancy leggings is so difficult. They're all so expensive. But if you can find a really comfortable pair of over the bump leggings, those are like, those for me were such a huge must have. I didn't really like, at least with, it's still early in my pregnancy right now, but with Hugo, I didn't really find that like there were many gadgets or things that I needed to get through the pregnancy. I needed a few extra pillows at night. I did try a body pregnancy pillow, but I just didn't find it as comfortable as regular pillows, just like stuffing a regular pillow under my bump and like with my head and stuff. So I would say comfortable pillows, maternity leggings, some good bras, and maybe a few shirts if you need, and that's it. Like keep it simple. Keep it simple. Okay, next question, and she has a few. She said, congrats. How are you currently planning on helping Hugo during this change? And there was another question, do you think Hugo will be jealous when the new baby gets here? And yes, I definitely do. I definitely think Hugo is going to be jealous, and I think Jeff and I don't know. We're going to need to, like, it's hard. You can't really come up with a plan for that type of stuff because we really don't know. Hugo can surprise us and be like an angel, but just from what we know of his personality, and like I'm his world right now, and anytime, like Jeff just took him for a walk, and the second they walked out of the house, Hugo was crying and saying, "Mommy, mommy, mommy," and I just know it's gonna be a tough transition for him. He is right now like such an only child, and he's our little baby, and the whole world revolves around him, and anytime he needs me, I get up and like go to him, or if I can't, he like, gets really upset. So it's going to be a transition for sure. I think we're just gonna have to handle it as it comes. I mean, maybe I'll read some books and some articles, ask some friends. I wanted to watch the like transitioning from 1 kid to 2 kid videos that some people make. But beyond that, like what do you do? You just roll with the punches. So we don't really have much of a plan, which is probably a stupid idea. But that's like, we know it's gonna be a thing. So ask me once the baby's here. He also asked, how did you and Jeff decide to start trying for number 2? Did it just feel right, or did you have some criteria first? A little bit of both. It did feel right, and I want to say starting last summer, I was like, okay, I'm ready for another baby. But we had a few dates this year, which are now all like thrown out the window, but who would have known, that we were trying to work around. We were trying to work around like a baby's due date with some work stuff for Jeff, and we were trying to work around a few wedding dates from friends and family for this year, and eventually we reached February of this year, and I was like, okay, we have to try, otherwise I'm going to explode. Like, I just need to be pregnant, and it was so visceral. And at that point, we were like, well, there are still things, like before the pandemic happened, we were like, okay, November, it's not completely clear. There are still some commitments and stuff, but like, we'll just make it work. We'll make it happen. We'll make it work. Cause like, is anything ever going to be perfect? No, of course not. And then the pandemic happened. And so it's like, okay, well, there you go. Everything's canceled and it is what it is. So those were sort of like, that was kind of the criteria. Beyond that, there wasn't anything else that we were waiting on. Next question, when you get a positive ovulation predictor kit, or when you get a positive ovulation test, do you count one CPO as the day after the positive or 2 days after it? I've always counted it as the day after. So there's that. Next question, I think the baby is going to be a girl. What gender are you feeling? Like I mentioned before, I think a girl. I've definitely felt more sick this pregnancy and more hormonal, which they say like it's an old wives' tale, means it's a girl. I'll do like a I'll do an old wives' tale video. Sorry, this video is so long, it's already 22 minutes. I'll do an old wives' tale gender video before we find out. But I'm thinking girl, but also I thought Hugo was a girl. So I don't know. And last question, do you feel any more relaxed in regards to giving birth / having a newborn than the first time around? Yes and no. I definitely feel more relaxed in regards to giving birth because I am not naturally giving birth. I am not gonna vaginally be giving birth. I think if I had to do that, it would be a different story, but the fact that I'm going in for a C-section now, don't get it twisted. I'm still nervous. I am still concerned. And I'll definitely be really anxious the morning of because it's a major abdominal surgery and I don't know what the recovery process is like. But I'm just in my head thinking that maybe nothing can be worse than what I went through last time. I don't know if that's like a famous last word, but I'm just hoping that all is well. I'm trying to stay as positive as possible. So in regards to the birth, no, I don't feel anxious. We're nervous. And then, do I feel any more relaxed in regards to having a newborn the second time around? So wait, do I feel more relaxed in regards to giving birth? Yes, because I won't be having a vaginal delivery and that's all. That checks off that box. Do I feel any more relaxed about having a newborn? No. Because having a newborn is the hardest thing in the whole world. It was, at least for us. So, I know some people have newborns who sleep all the time and it's easy peasy lemon squeezy. That was not the case with our son. Hugo was so tough. He barely slept. It was so brutal, on top of having to recover from the 4th degree tear and the rectal tear I had. It was so brutal, and I still have like triggering feelings and triggering thoughts about that time because it was so hard. It was so hard. So my bar is set really low for baby number 2. We're kind of going in expecting the worst. We're expecting that this baby is not going to sleep. We're expecting that we'll be up all night, and anything that exceeds those expectations will be amazing. Will actually be amazing. We are definitely going to do things differently, and this is like another topic for another video, but there are things that we want to do so differently with this baby that we did with Hugo when it comes to sleeping, crib, all that stuff. Sleep training, white noise, like we feel very strongly this go around about making all of that stuff work and like almost it being non-negotiable. We have a lot of non-negotiables this pregnancy, and that's because the pregnancy and Hugo, it was so hard. It was so hard. So for our own mental health and sanity, we're gonna need to have some stricter boundaries this go around. So I am definitely not more relaxed about baby number 2. In certain regards I am. Like, I had a newborn, I've had a baby, I kind of know what to expect. But in regards to the reality of having a newborn, no. Okay, friends, those are all the questions. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know this was a long video. If you have any other questions, I'll probably be doing another Q&A, I'm sure. What else do I have to do? You can leave those questions down below. Don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.